All right, Rabotai, Shavua Tov Mevorach. And the Bekiim Bahalacha continues. Be'ezrat Hashem b'si'ata d'shmaya, another week. And today we start day 35. For those that are following in the book, we're on page 105. And we begin today a new subject. So for many people, they're not aware that the tefillah, especially of Shacharit, begins on page 1. For a lot of people, they skip the first 35 pages, and they go to Baruch Shama. They begin from the middle of the service. So, and they don't know why they put the first 35 pages in the Sidur. They know what it's doing there. Somebody said because it's a hana'ah to skip. When you skip pages, you get a hana'ah. So they put those 35 pages not to read them, but you could skip them. So you say, all right, look, I'm on page 35 already. I'm not here for 2 minutes. I haven't read it. But obviously, there's not an extra page in the Sidur. And today we begin with the Inyan, where the prayer begins from a section called Hodu. Now, we didn't discuss Akedat Yitzhak, we didn't discuss the Ketoret, we didn't discuss the Kurban Tamid, and all the other Braita of Rabbi Ishmael and Ezeu Mekoman. That's for another discussion. There's a Kaddish Al Yisrael, and then we begin a very important section of the Tefillah called Hodu. Now, in the olden days, it's quite possible that they used to pray the beginning part at home. Everybody was at home, they said Berchut Hashan, they prayed, and then they came to Knis, they came to the Bet Knesset, and they started from Hodu. So people maybe made a mistake to think, the prayer starts from Hodu, but they didn't realize that everybody was saying the beginning of the prayer at home. Anyway, this prayer of Hodu is very, very, very special. Now, usually we begin from the easy to the difficult, but right away I'll tell you, if you look at my Sidur, where it quotes the opinion of Rabbeinu Ari, he says, don't be lenient in this paragraph called Hodu, because it's very, very critical. Because, as you know, when you're praying, you're moving up. You're moving up with the olamot. The olamot are moving up. And by the time you get to the Amidah, you're in the olam called Atzilut, which is right in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But it takes time to move up. And every time you move up to a higher world, so the kilipot are the negative forces. They try to sabotage the Kedusha, they try to sabotage the flight, they try to hijack it. So therefore, Hodu is when we're transitioning from Olama Asiyah to Olama Yitzirah, which is really the next stop on the flight path. So there's a critical moment there that the Kedipot can start to have a ahizah. So therefore, when we start to say the Hodu, it pushes away all the energies and allows us to get to the next level. So, if a person skips Hodu, so that's SOS, meaning that's it. He's hijacked. He's not, how can he get to Atzilut if he can't even make his way to Yitzirah? So that's why it's very, very critical to say. Now, this chapter of Hodu finds itself in two places. First of all, it finds itself in Divrei HaYamim, in chapter Tet Zayin, and also finds itself in Tehillim, chapter 105. The one that we're reading actually comes from Divrei HaYamim. Now, for another occasion, there are some differences between the version that we have in Tehillim and the version that we have in Divrei HaYamim, and that's probably worth a shiur in itself to point out the differences the way it's written in both chapters. Now, the question is, why do we begin with this chapter? So there's different opinions. We'll go according to one of the great rabbis, was called the Rokeach. Who was the Rokeach? He was a rabbi that lived in the city called Garmaizia. Garmaizia is the same city as Vermaizia. Maizia is the city of worms. That's where Rashi was. And this rabbi was Rabbi Azar Megarmaizia. He lived in the 1200s. And he was a student of a great rabbi called Rabbi Yehuda Hasid. And one of his famous students was none other than the rabbi called the Or Zarua. So this is obviously a great Chacham, and he was a Mekubal. The rabbi had a difficult life, a very difficult life. One night when he was learning, the Rotzchim, murderers, came into the house, and they killed in front of him 2 of his daughters, and they beat his wife to death in front of him. And he was screaming, and he was able to get saved. And he writes, he says, this only happened because of my sins. This was Sadiq Yesod Olam. Can you imagine what type of sins? And he was mekabel on himself the judgment. He saw it b'mo'inav, anti-Semites. Anyway, he wrote a sefer called Rokeach. I think Rokeach, Resh Kof Chet, is Gematria El Azar, which is his name. Anyway, in this sefer, he explains all the minhagim, and he goes to explain, the reasons why. He gives gematria, or he gives all beautiful remazim, etc. So in this part of the book, he explains why we say Hodu. Where did it come from? So he says you have to know a story that happened in the Tanakh. So what happened in the Tanakh? I'll tell you a story. Learn some Nevi'im. There was the Philistines were fighting Bnei Israel. The Philistines been fighting us from the times of the Tanakh, the Philistines. And Bnei Israel needed to help themselves, to win the war. So they decided to bring the Aron with the Luchot inside of it, the Aron Kodesh, from the Mishkan, to bring it to the war. They figured if they have the Aron with them, it's going to be a big sigula for them. Unfortunately, it backfired, and the Philistines were able to take the Aron into captivity. As a matter of fact, when they told Eli about that, he fell back on his chair and he died. It's terrible news. They brought it to their city, and the city of Dagon. Dagon was where they had the church of the Philistines. Dagon was the name of Avodah Zarah. And they put the Aron next to the Avodah Zarah. When they woke up the next morning, they saw the Avodah Zarah bowing to the Aron. So they said, what's going on over here? Now, if anybody knows that the Avodah Zarah is shaken, it's the people that manufactured. On the bottom of Dagon, it says made in China. So they know it's a fake. So they say, who was able to cause the Dagon to bow down? So they put it back together again. The next day they came, the legs were broken, the hands were broken of Dagon. So what's going on over here? So they said they moved the Aron to a different place. They moved it to a different place. So also, all bad luck was happening to them. They moved it 5 times, and everywhere they moved it, the people of the town were getting sick. The Rabbi tells us they were getting, forgive me, tehorim. Tehorim is, pardon me, but hemorrhoids. They couldn't sit, they couldn't walk, they couldn't go to the bed. And they realized after 7 months, see, it takes the British team 7 months. Some people could figure that in one day, but I'm happy they waited 7 months, because for 7 months they suffered. Because I wish they waited 8 months. They would suffer more. They said, no, well, another day. Till everybody had tihulim, the whole place had tihulim. It was okay. There's nobody left. Okay, now they said we're gonna return the Aron. So when they returned the Aron after 7 months, so it was a big day for Bnei Israel. How did they return it? They put it on a carriage, and they had 2 cows, and the cows were bringing it back by themselves. The cows knew intuitively to bring the Aron back to Bnei Israel. And it says that, and try to believe this because it's emet, that when the cows came back, the cows were singing the praises of Hashem. The cows themselves, singing cows. They weren't saying moo. According to the Rokeach, they were actually singing Hodu. They were saying the Hodu. And since that was a great day, the Aron came back to Bnei Israel. The cows were singing the praise of Hashem of the Hodu. So David HaMelech established that they would sing the Hodu, in praise to Kadosh Baruch Hu in front of the Aron. Some say they did it every single day. And if you look at the first passage, it says Hodu Ladonai Kir'u B'Shmo Hodiu Ba'amim Alilotav. 7 words. Can I get the 7 months that the Philistines had the Aron in captivity, and therefore he comes along and he says that this was a very, very, very momentous time for David HaMelech. Furthermore, he says, whenever you see the word Hodu, Hodu means thank you, gratitude. But it's usually used when a person feels that he got more than he deserved. The truth of the matter is we all have more than we deserve. What do we deserve? Remember when Leah had her fourth son, she says, Hapam Odet Hashem. Now I thank God. Why didn't you thank God before? She said, listen, there's 4 wives. We know there's 12 kids are going to be. Everybody knew, 12 children. So she did the hashbon, 4 wives, 12 kids, 3 each. All of a sudden, she had the 4th kid. So, Hapam Odet Hashem. Odeh meaning I had more than I received. David HaMelech also felt that God gave him more than he received. If you think about it, where was he born from? From Ruth. Ruth is a Giyoret, Moaviyah. And there was so much controversy with David. Is he permissible to come into the congregation? Is he not permissible to come into the congregation? His lineage was questioned. But in the end, he ends up becoming David Melech Yisrael Hai B'Kayam. He becomes the Mashiach. And he had, almost complete acceptance in Klal Yisrael. So David HaMelech was very grateful that he felt he got more than his share. So he would say every day, Hodu LaHashem Kiru B'Shmo, which, by the way, is a nice kavanah to have, because we're all the same. If David HaMelech feels unworthy, nobody should say, well, whatever I'm getting, I deserve more. Shalom. So therefore, we begin the prayers every morning. Baruch Hashem, we came to Bet Knesset, we feel good, hopefully, we have beracha. So we tell God, Hodu LaHashem Kiru B'Shmo, it's the same kavanah as David HaMelech. Furthermore, if you look in the Mefarshim, they say they used to say this chapter during the Korban Tamid. Again, in David HaMelech's time. They would bring the Tamid in the morning, and they would bring Tamid in the afternoon. So when they would bring the Tamid in the morning, they would say the beginning of this chapter, and then until the Ayal Tareu, and then in the afternoon they would finish it. So therefore today we have the custom as well, because we just read the Korban Tamid in the morning. We read the Ketoret, the Korban Tamid, so we read Hodu in order to remember that menhag that they had in the olden days. Now, if you look at the Hodu, you have to put it under a microscope, and you have to start doing experiments on this chapter, and you'll start to see that there are actually 10 different words that are used in order to praise Hashem. I'm going to tell you the words. Hodu, Kir'u, Hodi'u, Shiru, Zammeru, Sihu, Itadelu, Dirshu, Bakeshu, Zikhru. These are all 10 different terminologies that are in the chapter that are being used to praise Hashem. So the question is, what are we trying to commemorate with the 10? The whole religion is made out of 10. So he says, the Orchot Hayim, you bring down the Kolbo, that the 10 corresponds to the 10 Makot that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave to the Egyptians, and the 10 Makot that Hashem brought on Kiryat Yamsuf. And since it's a new day, we're remembering the 10 Ma'amarot that Hashem used to create the world. When Hashem created the world, how did he create the world? With his words. And therefore it says he said 10 different utterances in order to create the world. Every morning, he created something else. And the Pasuk says, B'yom asot Hashem Elohim, Eretz v'shamayim, B'yom, in the day. So therefore, we begin every day with the 10 words of praise corresponding to the creation. Furthermore, if you look in this chapter, I dare anybody to skip it now. After we're going to see all the secrets of this chapter, I dare anybody to come tomorrow morning and start from Baruch She'amar and skip to Hodu. He has to be out of his mind. After he realizes every part of the tefillah has so much content and so much kavanot. In the Hodu, we mentioned Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. You look at the beginning. Why do we mention Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov? First of all, Zechut Avot. But they're also connected to 10. Abraham Avinu had 10 tests, 10 nishonot. Yitzhak Avinu blessed his son Yaakov with 10 blessings. V'yiten lecha Elohim b'tel hashamayim. And Yaakov Avinu alav shalom, when he made all his wealth in Laban's house, would it say, Bechol asher titen li, aser nulach. I will give 10%. So therefore, we see over here the inyan of the 10, and therefore We have the 10 Commandments. So David HaMelech composed these 10 expressions in front of the ark in order to remind us of all those tens that we have as well. Okay, very nice. After we finish the Hodu, there's a next paragraph, Romemu Hashem Eloheinu v'shtachavu lahadom raglav kadoshu. Fine, this is talking about that we have faith in Hashem and God should protect us and provide us with all our needs. After that, we read Mizmor Shel Chanukat HaBayit LeDavid, Arumcha Hashem Delitani. Now, this Mizmor, Arumcha Hashem Kedelitani, is brought down by the Arizal. The Arizal says one must say Arumcha Hashem Kedelitani every single day. But he's not the earliest source. Already they found Sidurim all the way from the 1400s. That's before Rabbeinu Ari. That had already Arumcha Hashem Delitani, and therefore one should make sure to say that as well. We don't say Mizmor Shel Chanukat HaBayit in that mean. We say Arumcha Hashem Kedelitani v'lo samachta oy bayli. Furthermore, following that, I'm following Sfaradi custom. That's going to have a different way of breaking the tefillah. So again, Hodu. After Hodu, Arumcha Hashem Kedelitani, or Romemu Hashem, and then Arumcha Hashem Kedelitani. And then we get to a very critical moment. And this is the moment of Hashem Melech. Hashem Malach, Hashem Yimloch, Le'olam Va'ed. Now I'm going to ask a question to our members, and you can even use a computer. If somebody could just show me where this pasuk is written in the Tanakh. Adonai Melech, Adonai Malach, Adonai Yimloch Le'olam Va'ed. Just find me where this pasuk is written, and then we can continue the Shiur. Okay, well, so really this chapter over here, Hashem Melech, is actually a combination, Hazak Baruch, of three different pesukim. We have a pasuk, Adonai Melech Olam Va'ed, Abedu Goyim Me'arso. That's in Tehillim. We have a pasuk, Adonai Malach Giut Lavesh. Lavesh Adonai Ozet Asad that we say on Friday night. And we have the pasuk in Az Yashir, Adonai Yimloch Olam Va'ed. So what do? We took the Hashem Melech, we took the Hashem Malach, we took the Hashem Yimloch, and now we have a new item. And our custom, again, I'm giving you Sfaradi custom. This is a key moment. The congregation stands. When they say Hashem Melech, and Bet Yosef says we say it twice. Azan says it, and then we repeat it. Now, what's the significance why we stand when we say Hashem Melech? So it says the Midrash brings down that there is a Shibbolei Aleket that brings down from Rabbeinu Binyamin. It's based on a Midrash teaching that an angel stands in the center of the sky each morning and proclaims Hashem Melech. All the angels in the heaven repeat after him. So in the heaven, the same ceremony takes place. Since angels are always in a standing position, and we are copying the Malachim that are saying Hashem Melech, so therefore we also stand up as well and say it. Some had the custom only to say Hashem Melech and Hodu on Shabbat. However, the Beit Yosef says the Menhag of Sfaradim is to say Hodu, Hashem Melech every single day of the week in that position. And then we say, this is only the introduction. This is they have a different way. They say it after Baruch Shema. We say it before Baruch Shema. This is only an introduction. We're not saying any halachot today. We're just giving you the setup. After we say Hashem Melech, we say Lam Nasayah. Minginot was Moshir. I cannot tell you how many benefits there are for those that are careful to say Lam Nasayah, Minginot was Moshir. This is in the shape of the menorah like we have in our Sidurim. The Arizal says it can protect a person and bring him great prosperity for the entire day. If you look at my kuracha that I made, you see on the kuracha itself where I put my talib, I made the Lam Nasayah on because the Rokeach writes that any Bet Knesset that has the Lam Nasayah on the Aron Kodesh, no bad will happen in that Bet Knesset. No terrorists, no troubles, no tzarot, and the congregation will be protected. So, in our new Bet Knesset, they didn't listen. I wanted to put the Lam Nasayah there, but they said the rabbi is not the Koveya. Who's the Koveya? No, the designer.
He's not the goy.
I hope he knows that. But anyway, so he said, no, it doesn't go with the decor of the Bet Knesset. I said, we're not going to have a Bet Knesset. This is going to protect the Bet Knesset. So therefore, I said, you know what? I'll do it on my kuracha, and the kuracha is in the Bet Knesset every day. So therefore, we have a Shemirah. Over here also, I did the same thing. Anyway, Baruch Hashem, we have Shemirah. So anyway, that's inyan to say Lamnasim Meginot Mizmor Shir every single day, and we'll talk more about that when we get to Halakha 24. Some of the rabbis did not have Hodu. For example, if you look at the old Sidur of Rabbi Amram Gaon, it's not there. Maybe that's what these guys are relying on. They're relying on the Sidur of Rabbi Amram Gaon, why they don't say it. But I'm sure if you ask them, they never heard of Rabbi Amram, and they never heard of Gaon, and they never heard of the Sidur of Rabbi Gaon. But maybe it's your shit for them. Maybe give them the benefit of the doubt. And you also have Harambam. And Harambam Sidur also did not have Hodu. So it's, but again, we're following the Ben Ari at the end of the day, and Bet Yosef, since they had it, so therefore there is no question. Furthermore, like we said, there's different orders of how to place this. Some placed Hodu after Baruch She'amar, but based on the way that Ben Ari explained it, once you get to Baruch She'amar, you're ready in the Olam HaYetzirah, and you have to finish the work in Olam HaAsiyah before you get to Yetzirah. And therefore, Hodu is still working in the Asiyah a little, so therefore it should be done before Baruch She'amar. So that suffice to be the introduction. But let this be a lesson that if you made it to the Sidur, you have to know it didn't start today or yesterday or the day before. This is a custom that's been going on. Well, Arizal's 500 years, and we said already we saw Sidurim that have it in the 1400s, so that's already 600 years ago. So these are old minhagim, the way they were praying. So these are tried and tested customs, and therefore one should not be mizazel, especially if the person recognizes that the tefillah, Rabbeinu Ari compares it to somebody getting dressed. So when you get dressed, first you put on, forgive me, but you put on the undergarments first. And after the undergarments, then you put on your shirt. After you put on the shirt, you put on the outer garment, the tie. It's layers. So some people, they come late to Bet Knesset, and what happens? They didn't say Hodu. But they say, you know what, the rabbi made a big deal yesterday. Hodu, it's a big item. Shalom. You know what? After tefillah is over, I'm going to go back to Hodu. So they come late, and they say Hodu after the tefillah. But that's like putting on your undershirt after you put on your jacket. The guy he puts on his clothes. Oh, I forgot my undershirt. Okay, let me put my undershirt on. That guy walks to the shul, his undershirt over his jacket. What are you doing? No, I forgot my undershirt. Okay, but you can't put it on after over your shirt. You have to put it underneath. But it's too late. I got dressed already. Already you're in Olam HaAtzilut. How could you go back to Olam HaAsiyah? You're going backwards. So therefore, it's worthy to come a few minutes early or come on time at least and say the tefillah. We call it Sidur. Sidur means it's an order. It's a seder. Seder the tefillah, and try not to skip. That's the opening. Tomorrow morning, with the Shem Rabotai, we'll continue more on this subject. Baruch Adonai Le'olam.